Life is sweet. Baker, 90, recalls how his strudel helped him survive World War II. By Los Angeles Times, adapted by NewsELA staff. Ernie Feld, owner and operator of a tiny pastry shop near Lake Tahoe, Nevada, has been using the same recipe for decades. One treat, his popular poppy seed strudel, once helped save his life. Feld used to make poppy seed strudel for the Nazi SS officers who held him captive during the final years of World War II. The SS was a Nazi military unit that was responsible for some of the worst crimes committed by the Germans during the war. As the officer's baker, Feld was able to survive the mass killings that took the lives of millions of other European Jews. At 90, he still runs Ernie's International Pastries, artfully preparing the treats he has made for 7 decades. His signature treats include strudels, Austrian Schachtertorte, and lemon Napoleons. A skill for life. Feld has a sweet, grandfatherly sense of humor, but what he experienced as a young man was horrific. When Feld was being held prisoner at a makeshift German-run airport in Budapest, 3 dozen of his family members, including his beloved mother, Sarah, were killed by the Nazis in death camps. Feld's fate was different. The German SS needed me because I could cook, he explained. Baking saved my life. If I wasn't a baker, I'd probably be dead. He was born in Czechoslovakia in 1925 and grew up as Europe was on the brink of all-out war for the second time in 30 years. His father died in an accident, and his mother supported their family by running a restaurant. Feld, who everyone called Ernie, grew up watching her bake, and soon he followed in her footsteps. When I was 14, I was always licking this and licking that, he remembered. Mother would say, "Are you eating again? I'm going to send you to the baker's school." For 3 years, he worked as an assistant baker while attending cooking classes at night. When war broke out, food prices soared. His bosses started sending Feld on bicycle trips to the countryside to look for eggs and flour, which had become hard to find. In 1942, 3 years after the Nazis invaded Czechoslovakia, Nazi soldiers began rounding up the Jews and sending them to concentration camps where millions were murdered or forced into hard labor. Feld was just 17. All his mother could do was watch as soldiers made him board a train, taking him away from his home. He never saw her again. Feld was taken to Hungary, where he first worked as a cook at a farm camp. Then, a Nazi SS leader, in need of a good chef for an officers' club at an airport that Germans were building near Budapest, heard about the Jewish baker turned prisoner. He asked me, "What can you cook?" Feld remembered. Feld was chosen for the job, so the Nazis sent him to Budapest to shop for the ingredients he would need. He had to wear a yellow armband signifying he was a Jew, and he was followed by a guard to prevent his escape. Surviving the camp. Over the following months, he made poppy seed strudels, as well as pasta with poppy seeds, pastries with frankfurters, and cannoli, which Nazi officers said he cooked like an Italian. Feld's cooking made him popular enough with the Nazis that they kept him in the kitchen rather than sending him outside to perform hard labor. Feld enlisted other Jewish prisoners as kitchen helpers to spare them from hard labor as well. He recalls how they stood around a huge table, rolling out their dough, feeling lucky to be alive. By 1945, with the Allies pressing in and the Germans on the run, Feld was able to escape and eventually saved by advancing Russian troops. Back home, fellow survivors told him that his mother and younger brother Alex had been killed, along with many of his cousins, aunts, and uncles. Time for a new name. Feld eventually made his way to the San Francisco Bay Area, and he continued baking. Customers used to regularly ask about his original last name, Ehrenfeld, and these conversations started getting in his way. By the time I finished telling people about my name, my pastries got burned, Feld joked, so he decided to change his name. I told the judge I wanted to cut in half. He said, Ernie Ehrenfeld became Ernie Feld. That name signifies a past that took all of Feld's bravery to survive. Now at age 90, Feld sits at a table near the glass display case as his wife, Marika, does the baking, following recipes he taught her over their 22-year marriage. Since breaking his leg in a fall 5 months ago, he often uses a walker and a wheelchair. I used to give her instructions, he said. Now she orders me around. As Feld opened a box of photographs, faded images of his past, Marika whispered something to him in Hungarian. She wants me to say that those Nazis are probably dead. But Ernie is still making his poppy seed strudels, Feld translated, smiling.